Hey folks, welcome back to my series of building a guitar routine, practice routine that fits into your life and makes you better. So today we're going to get really technical. I'm going to actually show you some stuff rather than just talking about bits and pieces and how to. I'm going to show you exactly what the notes are. We're going to do some arpeggios today, that's the subject matter, and I'm going to get deep down into a beginner level, some very beginning arpeggios that you can learn. I'm going to do some intermediate ones, and then we're going to talk about some of the more advanced arpeggios that you can learn. And again, the sort of caveat with this is that you want to take your to fit things into your life. Obviously, the more you practice stuff, the better you're going to get. But you really just need 5 minutes on this stuff. Just take 5 minutes a day to pick one subject. If you're just learning maybe, a major seventh arpeggio or something like that, just sit and focus on that for 5 minutes. And if you do that every day, after a week, not even a week, you're gonna be able to play it really well. So that's the sort of strategy. You can build those 5-minute blocks up into half an hour, and in half an hour you've covered 6 different things, which is pretty exciting. It's a great strategy. It works really well for me, and I think for most of my students. So let's get straight into it. We're going to go straight into the beginner arpeggios, okay? So if you've never played arpeggios before, we're going to take some fundamental open position arpeggios, and I'm just going to show you two. I'm going to show you an A major arpeggio, and then I'm going to show you the A minor arpeggio, okay? So your A major arpeggio, okay, 4 notes. Why is it 4 notes? Because we're playing the first note of the scale, the A major scale. We're playing the 3rd note of the A major scale. We're playing the 5th note of the A major scale, and then we're playing the octave, or the root, so of the A major scale. Okay, so starting with A, that's your first, that's the root. Then you're going to play the major 3rd, which means that this is a major arpeggio, your 5th note, and then your octave, and come back down. So let's talk about the frets. We're playing 5th string open, playing the 4th fret on the 5th string, we're playing the 2nd fret on the 4th string, we're playing the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then you just reverse that to come back down. Okay, in terms of the picking, I'm picking a downstroke, I'm doing an upstroke because I've got a note on the same string, and then I'm going to do a downstroke onto the next string, and another downstroke because I'm playing the next string down. So let's keep that motion going, okay? Then up, up, down. It makes it nice and smooth, and you can just slowly practice that. Remember, when you're practicing, accuracy is more important than speed. Speed will come later. You want to be able to play those notes really well and make them sound really good. Let's do the minor, A minor arpeggio. So the difference between an A minor arpeggio and an A major arpeggio is that the 2nd note in the arpeggio, which is the 3rd note in the scale, the 1, 3, 5, is flat, which means that it's going to sound minor. So instead of playing it at the 4th fret, we're going to play it at the 3rd fret, giving us a minor sound. So open, 3rd fret, 2nd fret on the 4th string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string. So all the other notes stay the same, it's just that that major 3rd becomes a minor 3rd. We take it down 1 fret. It's a really good idea to be able to play a major arpeggio and a minor arpeggio of the same in the same key. So if you're playing, if you can play an A major arpeggio, you should learn the minor arpeggio as well. Why is that? Because songs and diatonic scales, and you don't need to know what diatonic means just now, are all made up of combinations of major and minor arpeggios, or major and minor chords. Okay, so when you're playing through songs, you're going to encounter both major and minor chords and arpeggios. So there we go, that's the beginning stuff. You know, as I say, just take 5 minutes a day maybe to work on start with your A major arpeggio, and then if you've got that down, maybe do 5 minutes on your A minor arpeggio, or do them both on the same day. 10 minutes of practice, not much to it. After a week you'll be absolutely ripping on those. Cool, let's go on to something a bit more intermediate. So in an intermediate level, around about grade 4, I would be expecting my students to be able to play minor 7th arpeggios a bit further up the neck. So we're going to stay in the key of A, and we're going to do the root on the 6th string. Okay, so if you're playing a major 7th arpeggio, it's a little bit more complex. What's the actual makeup of the arpeggio? Well, we're building on our major arpeggio. We're going 1, 3, 5, and then we're adding the 7th note of the scale to that. So it's 1, 3, 5, 7, octave, 3, 5, 7, octave. Okay? So what are our notes and our frets for this A major arpeggio? We're playing 5th fret, 4th fret, 7, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5. Okay. So work on getting that down. Spend 5 minutes a day. Just working through that kind of stuff. So if you're doing the major arpeggio, you also want to do the minor arpeggio as well. So minor 7 off the same root. Okay, so what are our notes here? We're playing 5, 8, 7, 5, 7, 5, 5, 8, 5, and back down. Okay, now again, practice, 5 minutes on that every day, or 10 minutes or 15, whatever you can afford to do. As I say, a minimum of 5 minutes is really going to help you out. If you're doing intermediate level stuff, then you really want to be adding in some dominant 7 arpeggios into your playing as well. Dominant 7s are very important when we get to this kind of level. Dominant chords are all over the place, and in fact, as you get more and more advanced, dominant stuff just really is one of the main sort of areas that you're going to find yourself playing in. So let's do the old dominant 7. So what are we doing with dominant 7? Well, same thing, 1, 3, 5. What's the difference between major 7 and dominant? Some people don't really understand that. The main difference is that your 7, if you're playing a major 7 arpeggio, you are playing the 7th note of the major scale. Now, if you're playing a dominant 7 arpeggio, you're going to take that 7th note and you're going to drop it down, flatten it by 1 fret, and it becomes a dominant note. Okay, so that's the difference between a dominant chord or arpeggio and a major chord or major 7 chord arpeggio. Is that the 7, for a dominant, a 7 is moved down 1 fret. So here's your dominant 7 arpeggio. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1. What are the frets? 5, 4, 7, 5, 7, 6, 5, 8, 5. So there we go, there's a more intermediate thing to work on. I think if you want to expand that more, then you take it to the root on the next string, okay? And just learn your 3 arpeggios that way, and eventually you're going to build up a nice vocabulary of arpeggios all across the neck. Another thing you can do is just work on playing off different fingers with those arpeggios. So it's like if you take the major arpeggio, you can obviously play it as written. Sorry, the major 7, or that's starting on my second finger, right? Now, what if I expand that out by using the first finger? See what I mean? Suddenly we're playing the same arpeggio but covering different frets and taking it in a different direction. So when you start to work on that kind of stuff, the fretboard really becomes more accessible. You start to see the connections between the boxes, if you like. So you start to play out of the boxes a little bit more. So when you get to a more advanced level, around about grade 7, something like that, you want to be thinking about adding some major 9s into your playing. So let's have a look at some of the, or I should say 9th arpeggios. So major 9, minor 9, dominant 9. So let's have a look at a major 9 arpeggio, still in the key of A. Okay, so there we go. That's your major 9. So that's 5, 4, 7, 6, 4, 6, 5, 4, 7. Really nice sounding arpeggio. Okay, let's do a minor 9 arpeggio. This one's a little bit more complicated. There's a lot more notes because we're going to add the 9 in a little earlier. We're going to add it in as where the second would be. So let's have a look at the minor 9 arpeggio. So what's going on there? Well, we're playing root, 9, flat 3, 5, flat 7, because, sorry, I should explain, in a minor arpeggio, the 7 is also flat. Root, 9, 3, 5, flat 7, root, 9, 3. So what frets are those? Well, 5, 7, 8, 7, 5, 7, 4, 5, 5, 8, 5, 7, 8. So there's your minor 9 arpeggio. Quite a complex one. So here's a dominant 9th arpeggio based off the 5th fret. This is A, based off the 5th fret on the 6th string. So what's happening there? Well, we have got the root, 3, 5, flat 7, root, 9, 3, 5, flat 7, root, 9. And what frets are we playing? 5, 4, 7, 5, 7, 4, 6, 5, 8, 5, 7. Okay, so there we go. There is a collection of various levels of arpeggios that you can practice to improve your playing. Again, as I've said before, this series is all about building a practice routine that fits into your life. So, you know, if you take any of those arpeggios and you just start practicing them for 5 minutes every day, set a timer, stay focused on it, and be consistent. That's the key here, is you have to be consistent and make sure that that you work on it every day, and you'll get it, and you'll start to be using these things all over the place. I hope that's been of use. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.